UU of the Week. I'm Liz Lander, and I'm the Religious Education Assistant at the First Unitarian Church of Salt Lake City. Today, we are going to learn about the first Unitarian President of the United States of America, John Adams. He was born in 1735 to a Puritan family who lived in Braintree, Massachusetts. His father wanted John to become a minister, but he felt too constrained by the beliefs of his upbringing. He left behind the more conservative religion of his childhood and decided instead to become a Unitarian and a lawyer. His legal career really took off when Adams defended British soldiers who fired into a crowd of angry colonists, killing 5 people in what was called the Boston Massacre. No other lawyer would defend them, but Adams believed that no person should be denied their right to counsel, meaning to have a lawyer on your side in court. He famously argued that facts are stubborn things, and whatever may be our wishes, our inclinations, or the dictates of our passions, they cannot alter the state of facts and evidence. The people were so angry that they all wanted all of the soldiers to be punished. But Adams argued that innocence should be protected above all else. Only the 2 soldiers who directly fired into the crowd were convicted, and the other 6 that Adams defended were found not guilty. A few years after that, the same angry feelings the colonists had against the British soldiers pushed them ever closer to the American Revolution when the colonies declared independence from the British. Adams was the representative of Massachusetts in the Continental Congress, and he said that they should write a Declaration of Independence. And he also said that his friend Thomas Jefferson should write it. But John Adams was an editor, and they both worked closely to write the document. During the war, Adams spent time in Europe attempting to negotiate peace with France and later with Britain. He secured loans from the Netherlands to help support George Washington's army, who had run out of food and supplies. While in Europe, John Adams actually hung out with Joseph Priestley, the inventor of fizzy water we all remember, and Unitarianism's #1 fan. We remember that Joseph Priestley got chased out of Europe by a fiery mob and then was instrumental in bringing Unitarianism to America. Although John Adams later became a critic of Priestley. He did not agree with everything he said. But after the war ended, America prepared to elect its first president. At that time, the person who won the most electoral college votes would be the president, and the runner-up became the vice president. Most people knew that the Southern General George Washington would win the presidency, so they wanted a Northerner to be the vice president. John Adams didn't even run, but he was elected anyway as America's first vice president. After Washington decided not to run for a 3rd term, John Adams became the 2nd president of the United States. Unfortunately, Adams was not very popular as president. Thomas Jefferson used his friends in the press to criticize the Adams administration so much that John Adams signed the Alien and Sedition Act into law. This extremely unpopular law made the residency requirement to become an American citizen much longer. Remember that none of these guys were born in America, so residency and the rights that go with it were based on how long you had been in America. The law was used to round up Adams' critics and force them to leave the country or go to jail. The act also made it illegal for anyone to publicly criticize the government, which was used against the journalists. The act expired at the end of Adams' term, but unfortunately, our current president has modeled some of his own policies on immigration and the free press on this legal precedent. John Adams lost his bid for a 2nd term as a for president as a result of all of this to Thomas Jefferson. And though Adams was unpopular at the time, history has softened its view of John Adams as president. He never personally used the Alien and Sedition Act against his enemies, and he even pardoned groups of people who resisted his taxes. He avoided war with France and is credited with moral leadership. They said no one understood the law and political science better than John Adams. It was just his abrupt nature that got in the way. John Adams studied faith and philosophy with as much fervor as he did politics, favoring Unitarian services the most. His writings speak of a reverence for morality, justice, and science. He also had a universalist flair, believing that God would not be so vengeful and that all people were saved. John Adams lived to be 90 years old, holding the record for the longest living former president until Ronald Reagan surpassed him. John Adams died on the 4th of July in 1826, on the 50th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence, the beloved document he wrote with Thomas Jefferson, who also died that same day, only a few hours before Adams. John and his wife Abigail are buried in a crypt beneath a Unitarian church called United First Parish in Quincy, Massachusetts. His son, John Quincy Adams, is also there, along with his wife Louisa. John Quincy Adams became the third Unitarian President of the United States, if you include Thomas Jefferson. There were 2 more Unitarian presidents after them, not including Barack Obama's brief stint in UU Sunday School. Do you know who they were? Thank you for joining me for this presidential edition of the UU of the Week. Until next time.